Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is March 22nd. Hope everybody's having a good Friday morning. All right. Markets gapped up yesterday, held the gap, right? Tried with boring ass market yesterday, and tried pushing up high, made highs, basically made new RTH highs before selling off, but still held the gap. Okay. But this morning, we're actually below yesterday's lows and we're gapping lower. Okay, so that's what's going on in the market this morning. Um, let's see today, Friday. Right now, volume picked up just now with this late sell here. Earlier, it was kind of low volume, so really have to see going into the weekend what happens. And without further ado, let's get into this. All right. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use volume profile and market profile to find structure in the market, along with gamma exposure levels, supply and demand, anchor VWAPs, and the most traded price of the year, the rolling month, the week, and the previous day. This all just helps me find structure in the market. It helps me, hopefully, some of those levels come together with confluence, and then they'd form a point where I want to be active in a trade, right? So that's basically why, and a lot of those things are not lagging indicators, are actually what's going on in the market, right? You're not looking at an EMA and just going, ooh, if that crosses, I'm short, which is fine if that's how you trade. But I like seeing things that are just absolute and they're not lagging, okay? So, hopefully, when you watch this channel, you subscribe and you set an alert, okay? Got some golden nuggets in this channel, I feel, all right, that is anybody could benefit from, all right? And if you do, give me a like, all right? That'd be much appreciated. And you can always follow me on X. That's at Gonzo719, all right? Now, let's move over to our futures watch list, okay? And let's see what is leading the pack here. The VIX, this late sell-off just recently, is up 1.32% at 13. Not much fear though, but it is the leader in this list right now. Here's interesting: 30-year bonds are being bought, so they're up 0.63%. The dollar is up 0.34. Crude has a nice pullback, and that is getting bought. Okay, it's up 0.23%. 10-year yield should fall with this bond buying. All right, at 820. Dow is down 0.07, ES down 0.12, Russell down 0.15, Nasdaq's down 0.27. That is the laggard of the indexes. All right, gold down 0.54, silver down 0.57, ether down 1.2, and Bitcoin is actually the laggard today, down 1.35% at 64,530. Okay, let's move on to the Mag 7 Plus. BA, Boeing, leading the pack, up 0.46, followed by Google. All right, and then the rest of the market's kind of laggy. Okay, AMD down 0.58, Nvidia down 0.61, Coin down 0.16, BABA 1.65, and Tesla, boy oh boy, Tesla just keeps getting pounded. China factory has weak demand, so that is why Tesla is falling. Okay, moving on to top sector stocks. Okay, UPS. UPS is up. Why? Because FedEx is doing a buyback repurchase program, and that's in sympathy. UPS is up in sympathy with FedEx. All right, that's the only really thing to note here. That's not much of a laggard. Qualcomm and Morgan Stanley. Okay, let's look over to the swing trade list here. Biggest leader is FedEx, what I just mentioned. Okay, followed by, I want to say that's Best Buy. Yes, that is Best Buy. All right, not sure right now why that is up, but it is up 2.4%, followed by Tilray, which is obviously marijuana. Schwab got an upgrade, and TLT, obviously bonds, right, being bought. So that's interesting. Okay, now, is there laggards? Yes, there is. All right, Lululemon reported earnings. Didn't seem to go so well. SoundHound's getting hammered. SoundHound's getting hammered. Nike, not good. Downgrades. Bros have an offering out there that's getting hit hard by 6%. MicroStrategy down 3.3%. All right, RXRX on Mara. I mean, a bunch of things are down. Okay, let's go back to the list, and we'll finish it off with sectors. We are industrials leading the pack. That's only up 0.13 though, right? Really looking at semis down 0.45 and discretionary down 0.89 because of Tesla. Okay, and Apple took a beating yesterday after the antitrust. That's flat right now. Okay, now we can move over to some economic calendar, which is very weak today. Very weak. Not much going on in the economic calendar today. We have a bunch of Fed speak today. You have Fed Bar, Fed Bostic. Actually, let's go to the juice. I think there's more. Yeah. So Fed Powell. Oh, really? How's that? How am I missing that? Fed Powell speaking at 9 a.m. How is that not in there? Interesting. How did that was not in the list? I mean, this says Fed Powell speaking at 9 a.m., Fed Jefferson at 10, Fed Barr at 12, ECB Lane speaks at 1 o'clock, Fed Bostic speaks at the close. Interesting. Powell. Didn't know that was happening. So 9 a.m. Powell speaking. Jeez. I wonder how long that's going to last. All right. That's that. Now, some news here. FedEx stock soared 12% as the stock. The logistics firm clocked stronger than expected earnings. Also approved a 5 billion share buyback. Tesla facing slower growth in China. I talked about that. Apple. Talked about that. Nike stock fell 6.1%. The world's largest sportswear maker warned that its revenue in the first half of fiscal 2025 would shrink by a low single-digit percentage. Lululemon stock fell 13% after the athleisure retailer forecasts annual revenue profit below expectations as demand wanes for its premium products, mainly in North America. All right, Reddit, the IPO, stock fell 5.2% a day after the social media platform made a strong market debut. Coinbase stock fell 2.3% with the cryptocurrency exchange suffering as Bitcoin, the most popular digital currency, fell below 65K. All right, that's what's going on there. What else did I have to show you? I think that's really it for today for the news. Let's move over to daily charts. Daily charts. Let's find those for you guys. And big orders hitting the tape right now. I don't know if you guys can hear that. This channel is like undefeated. Not my YouTube channel. This channel and the SPY. This thing is just ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. Every time it comes up here, resistance, and resistance. Talked about this in my pre-market, right? This channel is just every time it comes up here, you get a sell. I don't know if we go all the way back to here, but I would think it would be a possibility because you got the 20-day simple moving averages rising. So where are we now, right? 521.50 right here. So we're gapping lower into the gap. Okay, 2 days of buying, gap up. Now you're gapping down. All right, gapping lower. That's what's going on in the SPY. Okay, I would keep an eye on what's the high of this day. 520.62. So 521, 520. Let's see what the market does with that level. Okay, be interesting to find out what that does. Okay, in the Qs. Okay, let's look at this. You got a trend line that's been honored here. Okay. And yesterday, look where we came up. Right here. Right? Right to this previous high of this candle and a previous week's high. Right there. Couldn't go above that, right? So made a new all-time high yesterday and then sold off. 449 also was a large gamma level. So positive gamma level. So we sold off, closed down here, right? Now we can zoom in here. Now, so we're here, right? We finally punished these candles, right? Now profit taking ensues. And now, where are we now? 444.73. 444.73. Right here. Okay? So, this is an important level right here. 444. This is a very important level. Will this act as support today if we touch it? Right? Because now you'll fill the gap and come down to this pretty nice level here, a previous week's highs. Okay? Right there. So on a Friday, definitely could see us pushing, maybe get a bear trap, push down, and then push back up into the weekend. Let's see. We don't know. We don't know, right? Nobody ever knows. That's what makes the market the market. Because if everybody knew, we'd all have yachts right now and sitting in the ocean right now. 10-year yield. Let's look at that triple-headed monster. Okay. Big drop in yields, right? And then we started making lower highs. Okay, now we're coming back down to the 20-day simple moving average, the 200-day moving average. Let's see here, right? This is a previous, this is a pretty important level, 4.21 yield. Okay, it got some love. Now what happened with yields here? Whoa, yields just totally interesting. That makes sense because the 30-year bonds are being bought, right? So 10-year yields are down 1.29%. The dollar is up. So this is not bad for the market. So yields are down. Oh, that's why. I'm like looking at this candle. This is why, right here. That little, it's like it was hard to see. That's why. I'm like, they've got to be down. They're down. Right at the 200-day moving average. So that's why we weren't seeing it. This little black thing right here. Okay. Now, let's look at that dollar. Dollar's rising. Look at that. Came down here to this support level and wham, across the 200-day moving average. Now this is not good for equities and not good for commodities. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. It's a little mixed message this morning. The VIX is a little elevated, but at 13 VIX is not that much fear. Okay. That wraps up that. Let's go over to my favorite tool, market profile and volume profile. Let's look at the ES right now. Okay, now I talked about this yesterday. We just go over the structure together. This is my favorite to look at because it just gives me so much information right off the bat. Okay. Now, what are we looking at here? Okay. So, I see a lot of things that I'm looking at. Alright, so let's look at this profile. So, this is a rolling week profile, so you got a lot of value area. This is all value area. That means 70% of the trade in the last week has taken place in this area, right? And now this is the new volume. Okay. Now the job of the market, right, is the most traded price of the week still down here, right? You need this volume to kind of come out here, overtake this, move it up. All right. That means that the market is accepting the higher prices. Okay. If that does not happen, what happens is price returns the value. It returns. Okay, that's like a slingshot. It's like a rubber band. Okay, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not predicting anything right now. Okay, but that's what will happen because you don't have a ton. You have a little bit of volume here, but you don't have a lot of volume here in this move. It's kind of got weak legs here. Okay, now price is right here at the lows of the overnight session. Okay, you could see a lot of longs are in here trying to push this market up, and they failed. That's why we're down here. Okay, but we're at an important level. This level is the same important level I talked about yesterday. Okay, here's that close of the big move up, right? And then the overnight section just pushed up higher, right there. And then we opened yesterday, pushed up, but we closed down at the lows, right? We didn't quite come down to this level. Now we're coming to this level, and it's the market's job to defend this. Buyers need to defend this. Okay, it's the line in the sand. So 52.94, call it 52.95. You just need to see buyers defend this. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, call that a weak low. That's a weak low. Okay, remember, we still have the 52.64 midpoint, 52% retracement of the move. That could also be supportive. Okay, so we got the gap. All right, we have supply has formed, overhead supply now, got some supply zones. So sellers are moving. We're way away from VWAPs. Okay, so they're not going to really come into play at all. All right, so what do we have here? We have yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows. Okay, and we have overnight low right now is right there, and the overnight high. So we're gapping down. All right, so this is really I don't want to see this go farther because I'd like to get some kind of play with this level. Okay, now and here's another point that I want to make. Okay, so you have longs from here, right? Longs from here made it up to here, right? Longs from here. No one's been hurt yet. Okay, this is about to get violated. Now, I want to bring one other thing here. Look at the volume that's up here. That's all buying. Look at yesterday's session. The volume was concentrated at the top of the session. We're now price closed below that. Look at the session of the overnight. This is where composite volume over here showing us all buyers up in here. So that could really cause, with some steam, could push the market lower. You know, of course, buyers can step right back in as a look as the buy to dip opportunity. Okay, so let's look at some scenarios here together. Okay, so if we're looking at the bull, okay, line in the sand, 52.64 is a 50% retracement. Okay, we have this weak low that's still being defended right now, even though price is there. Okay, so if we want to continue this bullish stance, okay, we have this line to defend. Okay, so now we have to find acceptance down back in here to really get a win for the sellers. Okay, so we could open up, push down, and if we recover, snap back, start making higher lows, this is fuel. Now you have supply, so it's not going to be easy in here, but you can work your way up like that. Okay, that's probably what I would only be looking for. Now remember, reverse that. Now you know you have shorts from here, shorts from here. So think about it. If they're short, right? Everybody's short from the top. If you held, you're feeling good because now you're below the close today. And overnight shorts are also feeling good. Well, what if that snaps back? They're going to have to cover, right? So that's how that works. Now, if you look at the bear side, you do have supply zone here, and you have one here. Okay, so if you're a bear like me, like if I'm looking at this, what I want to see this level break, show some selling, get weak buying to bring it back up, maybe into the supply, or to fill the gap right here. So let me get rid of that. So number one would be a fill in the gap right here. Even maybe going boop, touching the supply, and then that's your move. You want to look at that 50% retracement right there, and then if we kind of hold here like this, we're going to come back to value. Most trader price month. Okay. Of course, we can push back up into here, and that's not as great, but you could also do the same thing, fall down. Okay. That is ES scenarios. That's kind of all I'm looking for. Okay, right now, pre-market, you have Tesla week, semis week, right? But sometimes the laggards pre-market, people look at them as dip buys. So you really just have to be careful and be patient. Okay. Now let's look at the NASDAQ together, and we'll wrap it up. So here's the NASDAQ. Okay. Big orders hitting the tape. Look at NASDAQ's a lot weaker. You notice that? The weak high in the SPY is holding, or ES, and the Qs has already broken it. And it's moving into this weak, this thin volume here. Okay. So let's look at the structure together. Value areas here. Okay. Then you have a couple distributions up there. Now this major level of 182.60 182.60 is just a huge level. Most trader price of the year, the month, the week. Okay, monster level. Like I said, if the market doesn't create value up here, the market returns like a rubber band. Okay, so we got some single prints in here. Okay, so big levels down here. I just mentioned that, right? Your 50% retracement is 183.92. All right, now look at the VWAPs here come into play a little bit more with the NASDAQ. Monthly VWAP, week to date VWAP are right below that 50% line. Could possibly be supportive if we do this, right? Possibly. Okay. Now, let's look at what the market did yesterday, right? So the market, opened here, only had that, and then had this much downside, right? Closed over here. Okay. So you got the high, the low, held that gap, little bit, held it. Now we're below, we're gapping down into a gap, right? And you got the overnight high and overnight low. We actually have a poor high and overnight that. So buyers had poor location at the top of this profile. Okay. And you could see this was buying volume that lost. And they cut, and then they had to liquidate their positions, which they're doing now as well, right? So we're gapping down. This is the gap fill. This is yesterday's lows. Okay, that's pretty much your line in the sand here. We can keep falling, but you want to see what they do with the gap fill. You want to see how people react. Okay, so yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, overnight highs, overnight lows, gap fill. Okay, we're currently at the lows. Okay, we're not 100% net short. This is the open, that's much long, this much short. We're about like 75 net short. Okay, so, and remember, you have thin volume. Not much support here. Not much. Okay, and keep falling. Keep falling. Okay. However, this bull market is resilient. The momentum is there, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay. So if we're gonna go with scenarios, all right, let's talk about it. We're gonna we'll look at the bullish case, which is not looking good right now. However, this could all just be a little trap. Okay. Now, what I'd want to see is this area here. Like I said, oh man, that's big. This area here. It's all about this area, that gap fill. Okay. So here's that gap fill. We'll put it right here. So we're gapping down at the lows. Okay. So what I would want to see is a push back up into this gap, fill the gap, and hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Lower high, lower high. Try to break that supply to try to go up to yesterday's most traded price, and there's supply up here as well. I'm not saying you all out breakout. We could very well do this and balance off here, trying to move the most traded price of the week up, which would be bullish. Okay. Now Nasdaq is a lot weaker. Okay. So that's really it. So how do we play that the other way? Well, here's your line in the sand for the bears. Okay. Gapping down. So for me, what I'd like to see is even a push down in the open, come back up, get buying, and really see if you can fill the gap. If you fill the gap and you start getting weakness, well, whoever bought here is in trouble. That's where we're going to probably fall into the 50% retracement right here of the move. And then you're going to play around with the monthly, the week to date and monthly VWAPs here. You could get push, but if you push, can't go back, we're going back to this level. I don't know if that whole happens. Okay, I don't know if that happens. Okay, we very well could push down here and then get love and build out value here. This is just the scenarios you got to look at. I mean, there is not a lot of support here. However, here's an important tip. Okay, whenever you have this thin volume like this, if there's weakness in the market, it usually cuts through it like a hot knife through butter. Okay, but if the market is weak and we can't cut through it, like say we only come to here and we start going like this, well then it's very bullish, because if the market is weak, it should just do this. Okay, so we have the plans now. Okay, I just laid them out. We do have the plans. So hopefully everybody got something out of this. All right, and that's our plan. So that gap fill is everything in both markets. Okay, you have nothing. Well, Apple's up 0.04%. That's not much, right? Apple has the antitrust lawsuit. Tesla's very weak. Now that makes it a little crazy because sometimes Tesla will just jump off at the open because it's down. However, we have to see. You have to wait. Okay, sometimes the markets are out of sync and then they'll all of a sudden be in sync, but in every stock's hitting an inflection point. Well, that's when you got to be active. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this session, the scenarios. Give me a big a thumbs up. Okay, you can also follow me on X at Gonzo719. All right, and this is the plan today. All right, pretty basic. It's the gap fill. Yesterday's lows in the SPY and the Qs. Yesterday's lows in NASDAQ and the ES. That's basically what I'm going to be looking for. What do we do if we go up there? What do we do? What's the market look like? Okay, so that should be it for me today. There's usually on a Friday nothing great happens after 1 o'clock or even 12 o'clock. The big boys go away for the weekend, so who knows. The one thing is volume's definitely picked up now. So that's good. And that's about it for me. All right. Everybody have a great weekend.